There now follows a disclaimer. Please understand that by following the guide in this video, that I won't be held accountable in any way, shape or form for anything that may go wrong with your quad. I have merely taken instructions that are the property of Oxdove on the phantompilots.com forum and turned them into this video guide. Whilst I have tried to be as accurate as I can and have tried my best to explain the procedure, please take the time to assess your technical skill level before following this guide. I wish to thank all those such as Oxdove, Gaucho, Andrew By and RM Home who wrote the original guide and produced the flash files that are used in this guide. Proceed only if you are happy to accept this disclaimer. Thank you for joining me. The purpose of this video is to show you how to fix the black screen of death on this, the Phantom 2 Vision Plus. The problem is, inside here there's a little Wi-Fi module and there's a board inside and the NAND goes flat and it has to be reflashed. Tools you're going to need are, first of all, a good quality soldering iron, and obviously with that you're going to need solder. Screwdriver wise, you're going to need a Phillips. I prefer this one. This is the original DJI from the Phantom 2 that came. You're also going to need this, a 2mm hex screwdriver. That'll just take all the screws out of the quad. The other thing I like to use, because my eyesight's not all that great, is a pair of these. This is a pair of magnifying goggles and a little light on it like that, and you can then just light things up. You're also going to need about an hour at most to do this. So if you follow the instructions step by step, it's however long this video takes. It is going to be a long video, so like I said, I am going to split it into sections. I'll put comments below where they'll go into. Now there's one thing you won't have, you're going to have to go and buy. It's one of these. It's called an Arduino flashboard, and this is a 3.3 or 5 volt selectable. You need a 5 volt one. This one comes, as you can see, with the mini USB socket on it. Now, it's got some wires on, but I will go through all this during the setup and showing you where all the wires go and how it all works, etc. So let's jump in. First stage coming up is actually stripping the quad down and getting the Wi-Fi module out. Okay, stage one is to get the quad apart. To do that, we're going to remove these 4 Phillips screws from on the outside. And then there are 1, 2, 3 screws in each arm to remove. You can leave the camera in place, you're not going to be touching that at all. So let's make a start. With all the screws removed, turn the quad back on its top, lift it up, and you should then be able to see there's a wire at the back here, which is the GPS wire. Just give that a bit of a wiggle and unplug it. You will need to cut these with a sharp knife. This has already been taken apart before by the looks of it. And have a look inside. This is the Wi-Fi module. This is the offending item, and this is what we need to be repairing. So that needs to come out. I'm just having a quick look around, make sure it's actually all plugged in. I've got a feeling this has been opened up before. Someone's been inside it and had a look at it. But now it all seems to be fine. This is the V1 module, which is really weird because the cabling looks like a V3. Now I know this has been changed. I know that someone's had this open before because the QR code in the bottom there doesn't match the QR code on this. So someone's taken the V3 module out and stuck a V2 module in. These are also V3 motors as well. You can tell because of the way they sit. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. They've got like a little raised section and they've got thinner wires as well. So I'm not sure the history behind it. Like I said, this is definitely a V1 module in a V3 quad. The V3 has ventilated holes on the top of it. I think I might have actually a shell somewhere, so I may very well swap this over and make this a V3 at some point, all complete. So let's get this out, and it's a little screw here on the back. I'll just show you on the camera so you can see it. It's just hiding behind this black there, little screw. So we just need to unscrew that. Don't lose that screw, you're going to need it later. Now then, it should then, just a case of wiggle it out. It may be stuck down with some kind of sticky stuff, so you might just wiggle a little bit. Just be careful with it when you're taking it off the board. There we go. That was just the resin uncracking, by the way, nothing else breaking. Last one is this little clip here. And again, it's a case of sliding the fingernail, pull it off, same with that one. There we go, so that's the module out. So we're going to put the quad to one side for now, because we don't need that. We just need this little thing. Okay, so that's the module apart. Sorry, that's the quad apart, the module out. Got to move now on to what's it going to be is stage 2, which is actually disassembling this unit. Okay, next stage is to actually remove this Wi-Fi module's cover. So there are 4 screws. Get your little Phillips in there like that. Don't lose the screws again, put them to one side. Like so. Now then, you're going to need to cut this tape. You can either just use a flat blade screwdriver or a sanding knife. As opposed to just get your flat blade and just slide it around the outside. Just score it across like that. You will need some more of this copper tape. It is available on eBay. Okay, so you should then be able to lever off this lid like this. If you're not scored enough, just keep trying to flick it round like that. There we go. Right, so leave up the lid and take it away like that, and you can now see there's the heatsink in there. This is the board we're going to pull out. This one, first board, just literally just lifts out. Just wiggle it gently. There's a connector at the back there, so just be very gentle. Just gently just leave it. You'll see the connector. That's that side and that side. Put that down out the way. That's not the board you want. This is the board we're going to be working on. Now for this, there are 4 little screw posts there, which I'm now going to take out. So with all those little posts removed, this cover drops off from underneath. Now just make note of the orientation. You can see a little hole there, sits on there, put that to one side. Bear with me a second while I just put my phone on the side, it's beeping away to itself. Nothing more annoying. Now then, once those screws are out, you need to lift this board out. And again, just get your screwdriver and just gently flick it up. It doesn't come up from the back, there we go. Now, as you undo this, you'll look on the back, you see this little rubber pad that's just attached there. Just be very gentle with that. You don't want to break that pad, you're going to need it later. Notice the orientation on it. It's actually across this little chip. Just gently peel it off. Try not to rip it if you can. There we go. Just pop that in the silver tray for now. Okay, this is where the fun starts now. This is going to be the part where we're actually going to flash the board in a moment. I'll just take you through quickly. On this board here, there are 1, 2, 3 there. There is 1 down here, and there's 2 here. That's what we're actually going to be working on. So I'm going to change camera view now to a head mounted unit so you can see exactly this in close-up detail. Okay, a bit more of a close-up. These are the 3 little contacts here we're going to be soldering to. There's 1 down here and there's 2 here as well. Now one of the things we have to do, because they just got like that, is to actually just score these. So bear with me 1 second. Not sure if you can see, but I've just scored those with my screwdriver. Just gives the solder something to fix to. Okay, now before we proceed with the flash, I'm going to take you through the Arduino board. Oop. As you can see, this Arduino board has a receive, a transmit, a power and a ground connected to it. Now the way it works is that this board also has a receive and a transmit and a ground and a live. And if you know anything about basic communications, you'll know that the transmit on the Arduino board will go to the receive on the camera board, and other way around, of course, the receive on the Arduino board will go to the transmit on the camera board, and obviously power negative and power plus will go to the normal ones. People get a bit confused over that statement, and I sort of say to them, well, imagine that that's you and that's the person you're talking to. Your transmit would be your mouth and the receive on here would be their ears, and vice versa. This transmit would be their mouth and your receive would be your ears. If you put transmit to transmit and receive to receive, it won't work. You have to be able to send and receive, etc. So I'm going to cover now soldering this up, but I'm not going to do this on camera because it's a little bit tricky to film at the same time. As you can see now, I've dropped solder on the 6 contacts. Just there, 3 and those 2. This is going to be jumper together, so don't worry about the fact there's only 4 cables for now. I'm going to attach the Arduino board now, so bear with me 1 second. So that's all the wires in place, the Arduino board. This is the boot loop jumper, which you'll be removing later. With that all done, it's now time to move on to the PC side of things and actually see if we can flash this bad boy up. So, moving on. So just before we go any further, I'll put a link to this page below. It tells you basically how to connect the wires up. Something really important to remember though, this TX and RX is referring to the sockets on the board, not the sockets on your Arduino. Okay, so don't make the mistake that I've made before when I first started doing these. This TX would go to the RX port on your Arduino, and this RX will go to the TX port on the Arduino. Do not put the wrong way around or else it just won't work. That's that loop wire you saw before. There's the 5 volts and that's the ground. So again, make sure you put RX, this pad here is RX, goes to the TX on your Arduino, and the TX goes to the RX on your Arduino. Okay, so that's the board, all the wires connected to it, USB lead. I'm going to plug that into the laptop. You can see I've got a red light on there and a little light on there as well. Let's go over to the laptop and we'll make sure that board's installed properly. On your laptop, you'll need to go to the device manager. If you're a Windows 10 or a Windows 7 user, just type in the search box device manager, you'll find it there. If you're an XP user, right click my computer and choose properties. Go down to ports and you're looking for this, the USB serial port. That means that's installed properly. If it's not installed the little Arduino board properly, you have to, well, I'm not going to go through installing the board. If you can't work out how to do it, just Google search it. You're going to need the flash files, and these are here on a Google Drive. I'll show you where they are. If you go to this page here, which will be in the link below, there's a link there, download the flash utility and binary phantoms for the Phantom 2, blah blah blah. Download those. Once you've downloaded them, you should then have a folder with them all in. I put them in my downloads in a folder called Flash. Where you put them is up to you, but you need to know where they are because you'll need to navigate through DOS to get to them later on. Right, what else are we going to need? We're going to now need to just check this board is actually connected up okay. So I'm going to go into my folder up here and look for this program. You're going to need to download this. It's called TerraTerm. Once you've installed it, simply run it and you get this box pop up. Don't do anything with that box, please. Just ignore it. Just click on cancel. Okay? Go to where it says setup. Go down until you find serial port. Change the baud rate to 115200 and click OK. And you'll see now it's saying boot me, boot me, boot me, boot me continuously. That means that your computer is talking to that board there. Okay, click the X to close it out. You don't need TerraTerm running, you do need to close it out first of all. Okay, now then, you're going to now need to flash it, and this is where the fun starts. I have got a copy of the files that I need, the command lines I need, and that is on my desktop, but just to show you how to get to them, go back to this page here, scroll down through the instructions, and you will come to this section here, and it is at here. Okay, it's actually edited this. All you need now is this one single line here, and I'm going to highlight it for you. And that's there. Okay, once you've highlighted that, copy that, bring up your notepad, paste it into notepad there. Now it says here COM XX. You need to put your COM number. Now I know that mine is COM9, so I'm going to delete the XX and I'm going to put COM9. That's what I'm going to use. Okay, so we're going to copy that again. So Control and C, put that down out the way for a second. And we're going to run a DOS box. Okay, now people who aren't familiar with DOS boxes, basically it's a command line. It's a throwover from the old days of DOS and Windows 3.1, etc. On Windows 10, simply just type in CMD. On Windows 7, type in CMD. In fact, in XP, you can also just type in CMD. That'll bring you to here. Okay, it'll say users, Justin's, that's my name. It'll say user, whoever you are. It may say something different. What you're going to need to do is just type in CD download and press enter, and it can't find it, so type in CD dir, oops sorry, start that again, type in dir, we need to get to my downloads folder, and it's there. So why can I not get to that? Because I need to type in CD downloads. There we go, I'm in CD downloads. Now the folder was called flash, so CD flash. The way to move around DOS uses basically just things like CD for change directory. Backslash will take me back to the root. So I'll just type in CD users, CD Justin's, CD downloads, CD flash. It's best if you stick it in the flash, the download folder, and you can just follow these simple instructions. Okay, so once you've done that, go back to your notepad, make sure you copied that, and in DOS, go up to the white bar, right click your mouse, go to edit and paste. You'll now see that that command is now put in there. We'll just go through the instructions briefly because there was originally 2 stages to this, but he says he seems to be having more luck just running the second procedure. So we're going to run the second procedure and we're going to see whether or not that fixes it. If not, we'll run both. So back to DOS, press enter on your keyboard. Just wait for it to start. There we go, flashing NAND with UB11, waiting for. Now if you come to this section here and it says boot me, do a Control and C on your keyboard, press the up arrow and press enter again. And what you're looking for is for it not to say boot me, but to start the second half of the flash. If it doesn't work the first time, you do have to run it. Sometimes I've done it once or twice. Just things like UAT ART receive error. Ignore that, let it run through. It's waiting for done. Now I'm hoping that this board will flash. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does. What you're waiting for is a completed message. There we go. That's changed now what it's doing. As I say, sometimes it does take a couple of times. Sometimes it goes through straight away. This at the moment now, as you can see, is flashing the NAND itself. It does take about a minute or so to flash up. Nearly done, 80, 90, 97, 98, 99. Writing data, and there you go, operation completed successfully. You need to have that message there. If you don't have that message, operation completed successfully, then it hasn't worked. And I'll just scroll back up again so you can see. You had the UAT ART receive error once there, you had it again there. So it was twice before it finally went through for the third and final time, and it said operation completed successfully. That now hopefully is the board flashed. Now there is a way to test it. All we need to do is just to remove that jumper link that we had earlier on. I just cut the wire for now because that's the easier way for me to do it. Again, launch TerraTerm, click cancel to make the screen a bit bigger so you can see more of what's happening for it. Again, go to setup, serial port, change your port speed to 115/200 and click on OK. Now fingers crossed, it just shows boot me. Okay, that's a bit better this time. As you can see, it's now running a script. So what I did was I just restarted the board by removing the power to it. So if you get the boot me like I just did, just restart the board. And as you can see, it's now outputting all sorts of weird and wonderful things. That shows that in theory this board has flashed okay. So I'm going to close out TerraTerm, close out that. Now then, it's time to reassemble. Now I'm not going to go through reassembly because basically it's just a reverse of the assembly procedure. The one thing I will point out though is that you will need to get some copper tape just to reseal the Wi-Fi module. And fingers crossed, that's it, you're done. You've got FPV restored. Now if you've got any questions, please do feel free to leave a comment below on this video. And I'm hoping that I've helped you out tremendously. If you find that you still can't do it, you're struggling in any way, as I said before, I do offer this service for a fee. I'll put the details at the end of the video for it. If you just think it's too complicated and you can't be bothered, you can send it to me for repair. Well, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you all again real soon.